I welcome all of you to today's session of Market Movers, in which we are going to discuss about the possible trading strategies which we can deploy in Euro, which has entered into a consolidation phase after rallying from 1.12 to almost 1.20. It didn't really get close to that after finding resistance close to 1.19. It has again uh, gone on the lower side, and right now in today's trading session it is oscillating between 1.175 to 1.18. So we will see what type of trading positioning can be taken in today's session or in coming few trading sessions. If you consider the trading context for the day, most of the data which we have got so far in the day has been better than expected. We got the employment numbers for United Kingdom. Before that, we got sales numbers for China, and later on, we also got this ZEW Economic Sentiment Index data for Germany. And here, this index has hit a high of 16 year. This is the highest reading since 2004, and this has propelled the Germany's equity index DAX almost 2 percentage point higher. In yesterday's session only, we had considered the DAX and the possibility of DAX getting past the 13,000 level, and if any of you had taken that position, I think you might be sitting in a pretty good position today. You might be sitting on a lot of profit. Now, as the US session is getting underway, we are seeing this upbeat mood momentum continuing in most of the risk assets. The sentiments are on the risk on side, and if you consider the US session open, we are seeing almost all the three key equity indices for United States opening higher, almost 1 percentage point. And the sentiments are, I am expecting, are likely to prevail in the latter part of the session as well. And as we will move on to the technical aspect, we are also going to cover the gold, in which these implications of risk on sentiments are going to be of key concern for us, and the possible technical outlook depending on how the risk sentiments play out. So let's get started for the technical outlook. First, we will cover the Euro USD technical outlook, then we will move on to the gold. This is the daily time frame chart, and not much has changed from yesterday when we had discussed about the possibility of Euro USD moving lower towards 1.16 zone. And even in yesterday's session, I had said that it is likely to find resistance close to 1.18, and in today's session we saw reversal from 1.175 to almost close to 1.18, and then from those levels again the fresh selling pressure is coming in the euro and pushing the euro lower. So this sell off is pretty sharp, and the euro has lost around 30 pips in no time. And if you consider the daily time frame chart, the things haven't really changed. The point is that Euro USD has now entered into a consolidation phase after rallying tremendously over last 3 to 4 months, and of course some sort of fatigue is setting in after this steep rally. So from the longer term perspective, we are not really concerned that much that the bullish trend is still there or not. We are more focused on the short to medium term trading opportunities in the Euro USD, and from that point of view, I think we are better off if we adopt bearish sell on rallies kind of strategy unless and until there is a break above key short term levels. So coming to the regression curve and the pivot point series, here on the lower side we have this central pivot point around 1.16 zone, and that is our target area as well for the Euro USD's near term outlook. On the higher side, the resistance sits pretty high beyond 1.20. So right now that is almost 300 points away and not much in picture. If you consider the regression curve is flattening to some extent after being in a steeply inclined upward slope, and as the price action has shifted to the lower side, we can indeed expect this regression curve to flatten, and then eventually if the euro USD moves lower, then eventually it is likely to bend on the downside. And this is a indication of the possibility that euro USD is likely to trade sideways with the bias being on the bearish side. So we will see if there are any emerging opportunities for us in today's trading session. In yesterday's session, we got this golden crossover, the 50 SMA crossing below 200 SMA, which is indicative of the bearish sentiments taking hold in the Euro USD. And as you can see from this chart, just a while back, we had this Euro USD touching close to 1.18 zone, and on those levels, we had these key resistance levels. We had this prior swing high, and then we have this 200 SMA, and just beyond that, there is this 100 SMA, and this resistance zone proved too strong for the Euro USD to cross above. Even in yesterday's session, I was talking about the stop loss being in the vicinity of 1.185 to 1.186, and if any of you have gone in for yesterday's trade, you might be sitting in the profitable zone now. And even in today's session, I would say that indeed, we can continue to look for trading opportunities here, and anything below 1.180 can still be exploited for a sell trade. And of course, right now we are almost 40 points, 40 pips away from the 1.18 zone. So because of that, I think we will need to wait for some time, and maybe if we are fortunate enough and we can get an entry anywhere close to 1.178 to 1.179 should also be a good idea. But of course, in that scenario, the stop loss is going to be a bit wide, and to compensate for the enhanced risk, we will have to extend the target price as well, and also reduce the lot sizing to some extent. Now moving on to the gold, after rallying past the 2000 zone, the gold is again showing some signs of correction, and in today's session it has almost lost 3 percentage points from the higher side, and the sell off is quickening as the day is progressing. So let's see what's happening in the gold. This is the daily time frame chart, and as you can see, the gold made a high closer to 2070 USD per ounce, and from those levels it has given up almost 5 percentage point. And now for today's session only, we are seeing almost 3 percentage point losses here, and I think that is reflective of the fact that on the economic front, data is not that bad as was the fear some days back. And also on vaccine front, of course we can't totally trust, but there is this positive news coming in from Russia, and we have to be a bit skeptical there, as we haven't really seen the test data. But even in other countries, the trial phase is moving pretty much along the lines, and we are hopeful that maybe by year end or by early 2021 we will have some sort of promising results out there, which might help bring this coronavirus outbreak in control. And of course, this is a long haul journey, so we will have to be patient. But the run which we had already seen in the gold might be reaching its immediate peak, and in next few sessions it might remain in a consolidation phase. So from here, I am expecting gold might even dive towards 1850, but of course that's not going to happen, most probably not today. It will take time, but the near term outlook I think is turning sideways to bearish, so we have to be mindful of that fact. Now in this 4 hourly chart, we have this central pivot point coming into play around 1907 USD per ounce, and as you can see, we had this resistance, the first resistance of this month's pivot point series around 2056, and here we saw gold consolidating, and eventually it broke below on the lower side, and now it is approaching this first support area coming in around 1900, and the regression curve is still steeply inclined on the higher side, but as the price action has shifted to the lower side, we will expect the regression curve to flatten, and as the price action remains on the lower bound, we will see the regression curve flattening and then bending on the lower side. It will take time, maybe a session or two, and then we can expect sideways momentum in the gold, and if any fresh opportunities arise for a sell on rallies kind of structure, then of course we can go for a fresh trade. But considering the sharp move fall and this large move already which has taken place in the gold, we will have to maybe sit on the sidelines and wait for better opportunity here. We will need the gold to be closer to this 200 SMA zone, and right now it looks almost far away, more than 2 percentage points. So let's see how things unfold. But we have resistance on the higher side, this 200 SMA zone, and then this prior swing low, which is likely to act as a near term resistance. And then on the higher side, we have this confluence of 50 and 100 SMAs as well. As the price action has gone lower, we can expect this 50 SMA to cross below this 200 SMA, and it will be an additional confirmation factor for adopting a bearish stance in the gold. And for that, we can continue to bet on the bearish sentiments to prevail in the gold. But for us to benefit, for us to profit from this emerging scenario, we will need the optimum entry and exit points, and that is easier said than done. We will need some retracement, some move on the higher side from the current levels, and as I said, it's always better to get involved in a fresh trade near the support or resistance zone. And since we are looking for a short selling opportunity, it's a better idea, it's a better idea to look for entry closer to the resistance zone. And I think this price zone of around 2010 to 2020 is going to be excellent choice. But as we can see, we will need almost 2 percentage point move on the higher side before that can happen. So let's see how things shape up in the latter part of US session, and then maybe in tomorrow's session. If things go in our favor as per our anticipation, we might eventually get an opportunity in the gold as well. So that's it from my side for today's session. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, you can write it in the comment section, and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Before I sign off, I would also like to remind of the risk associated with trading in the financial instrument, and one should be careful while using the information provided. Have a fabulous day ahead. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.